But that's what I mean. Everybody uses propaganda.
Oh, not everybody, sir. But propaganda is an important force in our society today. That's why, besides using propaganda, I've been studying it for some years. The picture. Propaganda skillfully employed to turn millions of men to a cruel hatred of their fellow men. And propaganda often persuades us to help our fellow men. The products of our factories are also known around the world through propaganda in the form of advertising and salesmanship. The study of history reveals a great deal of propaganda that has been used to fight wars and win wars. Propaganda can also be used for peace. So you see, Chuck, propaganda is important. Well worth any time you give study.
I see that. But how can you study it?
Well, you can begin by investigating the techniques of propaganda. Here, I've listed some of the main ones. Glittering generalities, transfer, name-calling, card stacking, testimonial, plain folks, and bandwagon. You'll find these techniques used in many places, in many ways, for many different purposes. Your job is to recognize them when you see them.
My first job is to understand what they mean. What is a glittering generality?
Make no mistake, there are things to fear in this world, and we need to be clear-eyed about them. But we are each other's countrymen and women. We share this miraculous country. This land and its heritage is yours, mine, and everyone's willing to pledge allegiance and understand the solemn responsibilities of American citizenship. That's what indivisible means, that big word that every grade school student knows. That we're in this together, even if that's not always easy.
We are all in this together, this world, connected through common experience, and now a common mission. From our homes, to our hospitals, to the edges of discovery, the race has become a relay, and we are all on the same team. We work together across borders and disciplines because we are one world, united in our humanity. We are all in this together, and we are stronger because of it.
We are in this together, and PNM is here to help. PNM reminds you to wash your hands often, practice social distancing, and have the peace of mind to know that we will get through this together.
We are in this together. One world, fighting as one.
I see. It's a glittering generality.
One of the best.
There's another.
We're working really, really hard in the hospitals, our nurses, our techs, all the docs.
It's about staggering when people get it so that the hospitals can cope.
We're going to go through an awful lot of these.
All across Puget Sound, people have been stepping up and donating personal protective equipment.
We stay at work.
For you.
You stay at home for us.
Just know we're all with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, doctors and nurses.
Then that's what you mean by the technique of transfer.
That's it. Now let's see if you can recognize another technique.
With so many people staying at home, folks have a lot of time on their hands, and that has prompted some to come up with some kind of absurd theories about the current pandemic. Les Trent clues you in on some of the more interesting ones.
Bill Gates, the world's second wealthiest man, is the target of wild screwball conspiracy theories claiming he engineered COVID-19.
Now what would you call that?
That's name calling.
That's right. But now I want you to listen to something else.
We now know that if you're going back over the course of the last few weeks, it was a very different picture when you were looking at all deaths from COVID-19. So deaths with COVID-19 on the death certificate. That's the black line there. Compare it to the white line. There's a difference there, isn't there? How much of a difference? Well, you get a sense if you look back on the 10th of April, we were told by the government back then that in hospitals, 8,958 people had died of COVID-19. Now we know, according to these new statistics, that actually the real death toll around then was 11,413. So these are deaths across the UK from all settings, so including in care homes as well. It doesn't look like that much of a difference, does it? But actually, it represents a 28% undercount. And if you extrapolate that out over the course of the following weeks, because that's kind of a bit in the past, you're talking now about us having a death toll that's not around 17,000. It is around 22,000 deaths, maybe even more. So those official numbers aren't telling you the full story. We now know that, and we also know that even that 22,000 might well be an understatement as well.
You recognize the technique?
No, I don't.
It's a tricky one. That's what we call card stacking.
I see. And card stacking is choosing some facts and leaving out others, and arranging them to suit your purpose.
That's the idea.
The global economy is in a state of paralysis. Businesses are closed, production has ground to a halt. In many Western countries, governments are dishing out generous aid packages to business owners, freelancers, and companies in need. But in many developing and emerging economies, the corona crisis hits people with full force. As a result, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged rich countries to do more for those that are less prepared. Otherwise, he warned, we face the nightmare of the disease spreading like wildfire in developing nations with millions of deaths.
We'll stop a minute, Chuck. Recognize the technique?
That must be what you call plain folks.
That's right. You'll find many versions of the appeal based on the common man, the man on the street, log cabin to president. Now let's look at the rest of the movie.
Everyone can do their part to slow the spread of COVID-19. Follow the directions of your state, county, and city authorities. Together, we can stop the spread of COVID-19.
That ending's easy to spot. It's the bandwagon.
Yes, propaganda we've been talking about is easy to detect. But a great deal of propaganda is much more hidden, much harder to detect.
That's what's bothering me.
Evaluating propaganda isn't that simple. Recognizing the technique is one step. Another step is to know the purpose.
Well, if I don't learn about propaganda, it won't be because there's no way to study it.
That's right, Chuck. Remember the techniques of propaganda and use the procedure we out is a powerful force. So powerful that your study of propaganda is important not only to you, but to me and to the world.